You know, one of these days, when I just don't want to live on this planet anymore, I'm just going to invent some completely hocus-pocus idiot scheme to draw in money from gullible morons and use that money to buy airtime, I mean just burning the rest of it.
I'm only burning my half. All you care about is money.
Or doing something equally amusing and pointless, like buying the world's biggest gold nugget and then firing it into the sun. Why? In the vain hope that people in the future just won't be so gullible. So someone sent me this on Twitter. Mount Etna burps and releases more carbon dioxide than the entire time mankind has existed. And then hashtag climate change is a scam. Oh, that sounds serious. It even has a caption. That one little burp by Mount Etna has already put more than 10,000 times the carbon dioxide into the atmosphere than mankind has in our entire time on Earth. But don't worry, a scam is in the works to tax you for your minuscule footprint. Oh, that does sound serious, and it's been doing the rounds. Here it is on Facebook with more than 11,000 likes. Now, this is where it kind of pushes buttons, because there's only one simple thing you would have had to have done to check if this was remotely viable. I mean, look, let's just say that the anthropogenic carbon produced since the industrial age has increased the atmospheric carbon dioxide from 300 to 400 parts per million. You don't need to worry about it too much. It'll be pretty simple this. So the increase is about 100 parts per million. Cool. So let's imagine what the atmosphere would look like if Mount Etna had just burped 10,000 times as much carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Well, 100 is the anthropogenically produced carbon, so 10 times that would be 1,000 parts per million. So 10,000 times that would be 1 million parts per million. The atmosphere would be 100% carbon dioxide. No, actually not quite, because the original atmosphere would still be there to dilute it. But that still means that it would be 50% carbon dioxide, which is the sort of thing you might notice, because merely at 10% you'd be unconscious in less than a minute or so and die shortly afterwards. I'll let this guy explain. As odd as it might sound, the breathing reflex isn't actually triggered by lack of oxygen, but the breathing is stimulated by the buildup of carbon dioxide in your blood. And therefore, an atmosphere with a lot of carbon dioxide is actually very bad for you. Maybe the most famous example of this was the Apollo 13 mission.
Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here.
The astronauts faced another problem, their own exhaled breath. The lithium hydroxide chemical to take carbon dioxide out of the air was not sufficient in the lunar module,
where the astronauts were basically being poisoned by the carbon dioxide they were breathing out into this oversized Coke can of theirs some 250,000 miles from the nearest breathable atmosphere. Strange the things you miss about Earth. Anyway, they managed to improvise a fix with some carbon dioxide filters and duct tape. Thankfully, we now actually have a very good idea of the hazards of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So, for instance, about 2% is the point where long-term exposure is going to be harmful. And that's about the level that the Apollo astronauts were getting to when they improvised their solution. Once it gets up to about 10%, you're looking at pretty much instant unconsciousness and death shortly afterwards. Seriously, that one little burp from Mount Etna has already put more than 10,000 times, oh my god, the carbon dioxide into the atmosphere than mankind in our entire time on Earth. I mean, damn, I thought the Grand Canyon could be formed in about 5 minutes thing was a tough act to follow, but it's been shared over 11,000 times. I mean, it's just taking stupidity to a new level.